Good fish. Whew, that was pretty cool. Is that a fish? That is so crazy, guys.
What is going on, guys, and welcome to another episode of All Mouth Bassing. So in this one, we're going to mix things up a little bit and get out there with this Plusinno Elite Hunter bait casting reel. I've actually had my eye on this reel for a little while now. I've worked with the company Plusinno a few times in the past, and they recently contacted me and asked me if there was anything in their catalog I'd be interested in trying out. I told them that I'd like to try this bait casting reel here because I've had a few subscribers request that I give bait casting a try. So I had them send this out, and we're going to get out there today with it and see if we could catch some nice bass. I've just got a Zoom speed worm rigged up in the color black and blue. I've got it Texas rigged on a 5/0 and a 1/8 ounce bullet weight to keep it down there a little bit in the water. Just gonna launch it around and hopefully have some luck. I already adjusted all the settings on this, so my brakes and tension and everything should be about right, but I'm very new to bait casters, so if I screw this up, don't judge me too much. That wasn't it. Well, that first cast was a fail, so let's try that again and see if we could do a little better on the second one. Maybe drop the brakes a little. All right. Oh no. All right, dropping the brakes wasn't the move. Dang, dude, come on. No. Dude, why? Why on earth? Ah, oh, this is such a bummer, dude. Alright, well, second cast went way worse. Let's try to sort this mess out, I guess. Well, guys, by some kind of absolute miracle, I managed to get that backlash out. And when I did, there was a fish on the other end of the line. I had my camera cut because I was just trying to get that backlash out. And it's actually a pretty good fish. What the heck? What a situation, guys. That is pretty awesome. First fish with the bait caster on an insane backlash crazy cast. Wow. All right. Well, that was far from the most graceful catch ever, but man, what a absolutely gorgeous first largemouth bass on the bait cast setup. Couldn't have asked for a better first fish on it. Let's get this dude back in the water. So awesome. Well, guys, unfortunately we only managed to catch that one bass the first day with the bait caster, but it is a few days later now and I'm back out with the Plusinno Elite Hunter bait caster setup. I actually switched rods. I got one with a little more backbone because I got a couple bites the other day and I missed the hook sets on them, so I think it was because I was using a pretty flimsy rod. So this one's a little sturdier. Hopefully my hook sets are a little better with this one. I was getting my casts down pretty good with this bait caster by the end of the day the other day, so I think we should be in pretty good shape. I think I got it pretty well dialed in. Not perfect, but pretty good. And the bait I'm gonna start out with today is this 3-inch voodoo mullet. I haven't really thrown this specific one around, or excuse me, voodoo shad actually. I've thrown the voodoo mullet around and I really like those. I've never thrown around the voodoo shad, so this will be a first for me. And this one is the color Glow. So it's a fairly windy day, should be a decent day for swim baits. Send it out there and see what happens. Well, guys, that first pond we tried out this morning kind of sucked, which is actually a little surprising because it looked like a pretty nice spot, but sometimes that's the way it goes. So I actually went ahead and I drove up to another pond nearby that I've been meaning to try out. I've never tried this one before either, but this one looks really nice too, so hopefully we have a little better luck here. I'm gonna start off just tossing around this speed worm and we'll see if anything wants it. If not, maybe I'll switch it up after a little while. Well, unfortunately, those first two ponds ended up kind of being garbage. Like I had said, I hadn't fished them before, and I'm not even really sure if bass are in there, so we could have just been wasting our time. But now I'm over at the third pond of the day. I've never tried this one either, but this pond ties into the canal system, so I'm 100% certain there are bass in here. I'm just gonna start out with the same speed craw I've been throwing, and we'll see if anything in here wants it. Good fish. All right, guys. Not a giant or anything, but been a pretty slow morning. Second best ever on the baitcaster and not too bad. Heck yeah, guys. Another beautiful little largie on the baitcaster. Let's get it swimming. Fish. Oh, might be a big one. Nah, it's not that big. Pulled pretty hard for a sec there, though. I think it was in the weeds. All right. All right, guys, that is number 3 on the baitcaster and the smallest one yet, but still real stoked at bit. Let's toss them back. That was pretty cool. Wow, that's a decent bass too. Wow, guys, what an awesome eat. This thing just came after it like a rocket. I watched it pull up and eat. What a beautiful bass too. So cool. Well, I really could not be happier with this bass, guys. It's my 4th ever on the baitcaster. It's an absolutely beautiful largemouth bass, and it was just an awesome eat. Just what an amazing scenario. So happy this dude decided to crunch it. Let's put it back in the water. Oof. Well, it's another day later now, guys, and I am actually back out at the same spot I was catching some nice bass at yesterday, but I'm out on the kayak today, and I might get into the canal system and explore that a bit more outside of this pond. It does tie into the canal system on both sides, so There's plenty of canal to explore, but for now I'm going to start off in this little pond area, and I'm just going to start off with the speed worms since it's what I've been having such good luck with. And yeah, gonna get this out there. Hopefully something wants it again today. Fish. I don't think it's that big, but it's just running hard. That's not too bad. All right. Heck of a fighter. All right, guys. It took us a little while this morning, but we finally got one down in the pond so far. Beautiful bass. That's another one with the bait caster. Let's put it back in the water and get back to fishing. So I'm really not too familiar with this particular stretch of this canal, guys, but I got on Google Maps and I saw this spot down here. There's a dead end right here to my left, and there's this good looking bridge spot right here to my right. So I decided to paddle down here and check this little area out. I'm gonna take a few casts here and see if we could pull in a bass or two in this spot. Is that a fish? That is so crazy, guys. I didn't think I had a fish that whole time. It was actually a pretty nice bass. What the heck? It never pulled. Like, this rod's fairly sensitive. I feel the bites, and this bass never even pulled. It just bit it and swam with it for like 10 feet. That was so wild. All right, guys, what another absolutely beautiful largemouth bass. Unfortunately though, with the way this one bit and it never really pulled, just kind of ran with the hook towards me the way it did, it was able to swallow the hook pretty bad and I wasn't really able to save it. So I don't really like to keep bass, but my boss actually loves bass and he cooks them up real nice. He's been actually asking me for them, so I'm gonna keep this one and bring it to him, I guess. Well, guys, the wind has picked up quite a bit at this point. Plus, I want to get this bass on ice because I don't have a stringer or a cooler or anything with me. So I'm heading back to my car now. Well, all right, guys, things actually ended up going a lot better than expected with the Plusinno Elite Hunter bait casting setup. So just a couple small things I want you guys to keep in mind before I get any further into this review. First of all, this is my first experience ever with a bait casting setup, so I don't really have any basis for comparison, and this review will be very specific to this exact reel. And the other thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that Plusinno did send me this reel out completely free of charge. But with that being said, I won't let that affect the review and my opinions of it will still be completely unbiased. So basically what I thought about this reel was that overall it is an awesome reel, especially being the budget option that it is. It comes in right around $30 to $40 depending on if they have any sales going on, and I was very impressed with it. It's a real smooth reel. I really like the styling of it. The gold and silver accents look real nice on that black body. Everything on it was real smooth, from the reel itself to the handle to the drag to the brakes. Everything turns real nice, has a real responsive, satisfying click to everything, all the adjustments you make. The tensioner knob worked perfect, the drag release worked perfect, or the release button, whatever you call that. Everything did exactly what it should. There were just a few very small issues I had with it. One of which being these handles, the threading on them, it's not reverse threaded. So as you reel, the handle will slowly unthread itself. It's a very, very gradual thing. It doesn't happen quickly. You might have to check it like once an hour or so to make sure they're staying in there right. But you will have to check it every now and again because of that slight issue. I'm not sure why they made the choice to make the handles like that, but it is slightly problematic. I don't totally love that. Aside from that, the only other small issue was that it could have came with a little bit more grease. There was just a tiny little bit of squeaking right out of the box, so you had to grease it up just a little tiny bit to make it function 100% perfect. But that's even an issue you have with some of the bigger brands. Sometimes they just don't send the reels out perfectly greased and oiled up, and sometimes you got to add a little bit yourself, which really is not a major issue, just a small thing I wanted to point out. And aside from that, yeah, I just thought it was an awesome reel. I was expecting to have a lot more issues getting dialed in with it, especially being that I'm a person who personally likes to throw lighter, more finesse style baits, and also I was casting into the wind one or two of those days there. But surprisingly, I just had a few tiny issues with backlashes those first few casts, and then once I got all my settings dialed in and got myself just a little bit dialed in with the reel, I had no issues with backlash, no issues with bird's nest, no issues with anything like that, and the reel functioned 100% perfectly. So with those couple small issues in mind that I pointed out, I would give this reel a solid 8 out of 10. I'm super happy with it, and I would recommend it to pretty much anyone for the price. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this review helpful. I'll see you on the next one, and I'll see you on the water.